January 1945. The forests of eastern France are a frozen nightmare. Snow blankets the ground, and the air cracks with the sound of artillery. Trees splinter into pieces, and the world is a storm of fire and ice. A powerful German force, with tanks and infantry, pushes forward through the woods, determined to break the American line. Amid the chaos, a single American soldier makes an impossible choice. His men are falling back. Their tank destroyer is hit, on fire, and about to explode. Instead of running, he climbs on top of the burning vehicle, alone against the oncoming storm. To understand this moment of incredible courage, we must look back at the larger war. By the end of 1944, the Allied armies were pushing deep into enemy territory. The fight for Europe had become a slow, grinding battle against a determined foe who defended every town and forest with fierce resolve. One of the most difficult battles took place in a region of France known as the Colmar Pocket. Here, German forces held a strong defensive position, a bulge in the battle lines that stopped the Allied advance. The fighting was constant and brutal, a test of endurance for soldiers on both sides. The soldier on that burning vehicle was named Audie Murphy. To look at him, you would not see a legendary warrior. He was a small, quiet young man who had grown up in poverty in rural Texas. He seemed an unlikely hero in a world of giants. When America entered the war, Murphy was so young and underweight that he was turned away by the Marines and the paratroopers. But his small size hid an unbreakable spirit. He refused to give up, and the Army finally gave him a chance, little knowing he would become one of its most celebrated soldiers. This desperate fight in the Colmar Pocket was not his first taste of combat. He had already proven himself a brave and capable soldier, fighting in the campaigns in Italy and southern France with the respected 3rd Infantry Division. He had seen the worst of war and had never backed down. Through his courage, he had earned medals for valor and had been promoted to lead other men in battle. He had a rare ability to remain calm and think clearly when everything was exploding around him. His bravery was not a single act, but a steady light in the darkness of conflict. On that freezing January day, Murphy, now in command of his company, was given a simple but terrifying order: hold the line at all costs. His men were dug in at the edge of a forest, a thin defense against a massive German assault. The German plan was to smash through this weak point in the American defenses. They sent 6 of their powerful tanks and hundreds of soldiers to overwhelm Murphy's small company. The American line began to bend, and it seemed that nothing could stop the attack. The German attack comes suddenly, a wave of steel and soldiers crashing through the snow-covered woods. 6 tanks and hundreds of infantrymen push forward, their firepower overwhelming the small American company. The air fills with the sharp crack of rifles and the deep boom of tank cannons. 2 of the American tank destroyers are hit almost immediately. One is knocked out of the fight, silent and still. The other erupts in a tower of smoke and fire, a dangerous, burning beacon on the battlefield. The American defensive line begins to crumble under the intense pressure. With their heavy weapons gone and the enemy advancing, the American soldiers are forced to pull back. They retreat towards the tree line, seeking any cover they can find from the storm of bullets and shells. The entire position is on the verge of collapse. But one man does not fall back. Lieutenant Audie Murphy orders his men to continue their retreat into the woods, to regroup and save themselves. He, however, stays. Alone, he turns and runs directly toward the burning tank destroyer, a vehicle that could explode at any second. He climbs onto the hot, smoking hull of the machine. Grabbing the heavy .50 caliber machine gun mounted on top, he swivels it toward the advancing enemy. From this exposed and dangerous position, he opens fire, cutting into the German infantry ranks. For an hour, Audie Murphy fights a solitary war. Surrounded by the enemy, standing on a ticking time bomb, he single-handedly holds back the assault. The sheer volume of his fire stops the German advance cold, forcing them to seek cover from this one-man fortress. This act was not just one of incredible courage, but also of sharp tactical thinking. While firing the powerful machine gun, Murphy was also using a field telephone, calling in coordinates for an artillery strike. He directed the big guns to fire on the enemy, sometimes bringing the explosions dangerously close to his own position. This is how one soldier can stop an army, By using a powerful weapon from a strong, elevated position, he could control a wide area of the battlefield. By coordinating with artillery, he multiplied his own force, breaking up enemy formations before they could organize an attack on him. After the long hour of fighting, the machine gun's ammunition ran out. Wounded in the leg, Murphy finally slid off the smoldering tank and limped back to his men waiting in the woods. He had held the line. He refused to be evacuated for medical treatment. Instead, he gathered his soldiers, who were inspired by his unbelievable stand. He then organized them and led a counterattack, pushing forward to reclaim the ground they had lost and driving the enemy forces into retreat. For his unbelievable courage, Audie Murphy received the Medal of Honor, the highest award a soldier can earn for bravery in combat. The simple farm boy from Texas stood before the nation's leaders, recognized for an act of valor that seemed almost impossible. His stand on that burning tank destroyer saved his men and turned the tide of the battle. This medal was the final, most important piece in a collection of honors that told the story of his entire time at war. By the end of his service, he had been awarded every military combat award for valor that the United States had. He also received medals from allies like France and Belgium. This achievement made him the most decorated American combat soldier of World War II. It was a title he never sought, but one he earned through countless acts of bravery and leadership under fire. His name became a legend, a symbol of the American fighting spirit. But when the parades ended and the world tried to return to peace, Audie Murphy faced a new, private war. The battles left scars that no one could see. He came home a national hero, but he brought the heavy weight of his experiences with him. Like many soldiers, he struggled with what we now call post-traumatic stress disorder. The memories of the conflict stayed with him, making it hard to sleep and find peace. He understood the hidden cost of war better than most. Instead of suffering in silence, Audie Murphy chose to speak out. He became one of the first major public figures to talk openly about the mental and emotional struggles of veterans. He fought for them to get the help and understanding they needed after returning home. The story of Audie Murphy is more than just a tale of battlefield heroism. It is a powerful lesson about the potential for courage that lies within ordinary people. He was not born a superhero, but a quiet young man who faced extraordinary circumstances. His journey shows that true strength is not measured by a person's size, but by the size of their heart and their will to protect others. He repeatedly put himself in danger to save his friends and accomplish his mission, proving that one person can make a profound difference. His legacy is not just in the medals he wore, but in the example he set. He reminds us that heroes are often forged in the toughest of times, and that the greatest acts of valor come from a deep sense of duty and love for one's comrades. But for Audie Murphy, and for millions of soldiers like him, the war did not end when the guns fell silent. The battles they fought in Europe were followed by a quieter, more personal struggle back home. His story makes us ask a deep question. Where does such courage come from? How can one person go through so much, first on the battlefield, and then in the quiet of their own mind? It is a question not just about one soldier, but about the amazing strength that can be found inside people. Audie Murphy's life does not just give us answers about the past. It asks us to think about what the human spirit is capable of when it is tested by fire. The memories of what they had seen and done were wounds that did not show on the outside. Many returning soldiers carried these invisible burdens. In those days, people had different names for it, like battle fatigue. We now understand it as the deep stress that combat can leave on a person's mind and spirit. It was a lonely fight, often fought in silence. After the war, Audie Murphy became a famous movie actor. He even played himself in a film about his own life. But he saw his fame as a tool, a way to speak up for those who had no voice. He knew his most important mission was not yet over. Murphy used a brave new strategy in this different kind of war. He began to talk openly about his own struggles with the mental toll of combat. In a time when such things were rarely discussed, his honesty was a revolutionary act of courage. By sharing his own story, he helped to change how people thought about veterans' health. He showed the world that it was not a weakness to be affected by war, but a natural and human response. His actions helped pave the way for better understanding and care for soldiers returning from conflict. His legacy, therefore, is twofold. He is remembered as the soldier who faced down an entire enemy force from a burning tank. but he is also remembered as the man who bravely faced his own inner battles in the public eye, fighting for the well-being of his comrades. We must honor the full measure of his sacrifice. It was not only the willingness to give his life on the battlefield, but also the courage to live with the memories and use his painful experience to help others. This was a different kind of valor. His journey gives a voice to countless soldiers throughout history. It reminds us that when we honor those who serve, we must recognize all their battles, both seen and unseen. Their courage continues long after they have left the field of war. From a humble farm boy to a national hero, Audie Murphy's life was an incredible testament to the strength of the human spirit. He showed that one person, no matter their size or background, could change the course of a battle and later change a national conversation. His story is more than a list of medals. It is a powerful lesson in courage, resilience, and compassion. It calls on us to remember that true strength is not just about fighting, but also about healing, and that the greatest honor we can pay our heroes is to understand the full weight of their service.